Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we are looking at something that is now very old and becoming harder and harder to find. We are looking at the 1965 release from the Gerry Andersons series of annuals. And this particular annual is of Fireball XL5, which featured Steve Zodiac, who as the commander of the Fireball XL5 spaceship, which defended Earth, and his sidekick was Venus, who you can see in the picture there. So Fireball XL5 was obviously created by Gerry and Sylvia Anderson, and I think it was the third series in their Super Marionation series of children's puppet television series. Now Fireball XL5 was a spaceship which patrolled the Earth and protected the Earth from alien invasions, and it was all run by the World Space Patrol, and basically they policed the cosmos, and obviously, as I say, the ship was commanded by Colonel Steve Zodiac. Okay, there was 39 episodes produced over a 2-year period, and they aired from 28th of October 1962 to the 27th of October 1963, and they were about 25 minutes each long, and that was the first airing. Of course, then they went on to be rerun. They did show Fireball XL5 quite a lot back in the 1960s, hence the reason why the annual was still coming out in 1965 for the upcoming 1966 year. Anyway, I have digressed a little bit. Let's get back onto this annual. So this is the annual in front of us, and it says Fireball XL5 Annual, and there you got an image of Steve Zodiac and Venus, and they're floating away in space with their jetpacks on. No helmets, incidentally, so they would suffocate. There's a UFO firing some missiles at them, and you've got Fireball XL5 in the background there, which is flying through space. Okay, that's the front of the annual. Let's just spin it round to the back. And what have we got on the back? We've got exactly the same picture again. Okay, so nothing great to look at there. I think what we're going to do then now is we're going to turn the annual back round to the front. We're going to open it up and we're going to have a look at the contents inside. Okay, so I have opened the annual, and this is the first artwork picture inside, and there you can see the XL5 nose cone, which detached from the rocket itself, so this could go down and land on the planets and the rocket could stay in orbit. So a very nice artwork picture that is. Okay, and then we come on to the first page, and you've got an image of Steve Zodiac, Venus, and Robert the Robot. And it said this book belongs to, and you can fill in your name there if you wanted to. Fireball XL5 Annual, stories and features by S. Goodall, D. Motton, and R. Mail. Drawings by T. Hurst, R. Hamilton, and H. Turner. And it's London and Glasgow, and it's the Collins book that released, Collins name that released the book. Okay, so that is the first page. If we just turn the page over to the next, we've got the contents. So you've got stories and strip features. So you've got the stolen ship, space blackmail, the brain, the drifting coffin, the living rock, the valley, the creeping menace, and small trouble. The planet of destruction, the Lazoon commander, the capsules of death, and then you've got puzzles and games, which is paint by numbers, what is on his screen, puzzle, Fireball XL5 Spaceways Race, puzzle, and Zuni's puzzle. Okay, so let's move on and let's have a look at the content. So we've got down here 1966 by A.P Films Limited and ATV Limited, printed and made in Great Britain by W.M. Collins Sons and Company Limited, London and Glasgow. So the first story, The Stolen Ship, and it is a coloured comic strip, which is, you don't see a lot of the coloured comic strips back in the day because of the cost involved in colouring the comic strips. So it wasn't unusual, but you don't see a lot of them in the annuals.
But again, a nice artwork, images. There is some corners been torn off the pages on here. I don't know why that was done, but anyway, a book that's as old as it is, hardly surprising you're going to find some problems with it. So the second story is now gone to monocolour, and it's called Space Blackmail. Monocolour was a much cheaper version of adding colour to the comic strips, because they were black and white and you just added one colour, which made them much cheaper than doing everything in full colour. So this one has got the pink or the red mono strip colour with the black and white. Okay, and then we come on to a full strip story with a monocolour illustration, and this is called The Brain. And each page has a monocolour illustration which is all based on the story. And there's a full page illustration there. And then we've got a paint by numbers, so there's an image there with the numbers all inserted into the image, and down here number 1 is red, number 2 is yellow, number 3 is dark blue, number 4 is light blue, and so on. And you can paint your own picture there, or you can just use crayons, or you can use felt tip pens or what have you, or colouring pencils, whatever you want it to do. Next comic strip is in black and white, and it's called The Drifting Coffin. And again, it's all still based on the television series. And there are some age spots in this annual. Obviously, it's getting on for 60 years old, so you would expect nothing less. And then we have a dot to dot there, and this has been done in pencil but could very easily be rubbed out because it's only a very light pencil line. And then we come on to the next story, which is called The Living Rock. And again, this is a full story with artwork images that are completely in black and white, featuring Steve Zodiac and Venus again. And then we got How Many Mistakes Can You Find in the Lower Picture, which is obviously different to the one above. So the first one I see is the size of the planet. That's very different. That's easy one to spot there. And there's also the flume coming out the back of the ship there. So there's another one. I don't know how many there is. We'll find that out on page 93. And then there's another colour comic strip story called The Valley. And again, that's all Steve Zodiac and Venus and the Professor. And that runs for 4 pages. And then we come to the quiz. So which of these nose cones is on course for the target? So you have to figure out which one actually hits the planet in the centre. And there's 3 of them to look at. And then we've got The Creeping Menace, which is another story, a comic strip story, which is in monocolour. Again, it's the red monocolour, featuring the crew of Fireball XL5 again. It's quite a long strip, this one. It goes on for about 8 or 9 pages. There's a little bit of discoloration to the pages on this one. And then we come to the Zuni's puzzle page, and you've got a word change, and different quizzes that you can do. Matchstick quiz there. And then we come on to the another full story, which is called Small Trouble. Again, it's a story with monocolour illustrations that relate to the story, and that runs for about 6 or 7 pages. And then we're on to another comic strip, which is called The Planet of Destruction, which is a black and white comic strip, again featuring Venus and Steve Zodiac. And that runs for about 8, maybe 10 pages, until we reach the next story, which is called The Lazoon Commander, and that is a full story with black and white illustrations, as you can see. Again, nice artwork though, even though they're some are black and white, some are monocolour, some are full colour. The illustrations are very nice. Full page illustration there of the monkey and some kind of alien animal. What does it say on the picture there? It says Vembo picked up Zuni's shoulder tabs. Okay. And then we come to the Capsule of Death, which is another comic strip story featuring the crew of Fireball XL5 and the World Space, of the World Space Patrol, and that's a full colour story. And then we come to the final page, which gives your answers to the puzzles on page 49, a solution to puzzle on page 56, and then we're back to the same picture inside the back cover as we had on the front, with Fireball XL5 coming in, the nose cone coming in to land on the planet. Okay, that is the annual. Okay, how well did these annuals do back in the day? Well, back in the day, really the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and to some extent the 90s, annuals were staple diet for Christmas presents. In fact, for some people they still are today. There's a lot of annuals that still come out towards Christmas that are geared for the children and are bought by the parents for their, or bought by Father Christmas maybe for the Christmas morning. I mean, back in our day, it was a staple diet. Every Christmas, you would receive 1, 2, or maybe 3 annuals in your Christmas stocking or your Christmas sack, if you were lucky, that all related to your favourite television programmes. So they were very, very big items. I remember back in the day, in the 60s, and the 50s, 60s, 70s, there was no such thing as video recorders, and they weren't really around much in the 80s. It was only into the late 80s where they started to become popular. So there wasn't a great deal of, there wasn't any videos around for you to record programs or get a tape and watch a program. There was nothing there. So annuals was a very big thing. They were like our video recorders, if you like, of the 60s. So we could have the book, we could relive our favourite stories, we could read new ones that we hadn't seen before, and enjoy them over and over and over again whenever we liked. So it was like having a video recorder where you just keep playing the same episodes over and over again. But obviously in book format, and you also had other things you could do with the books. There was quizzes and games and things that you could do in these books, which you obviously don't have on DVD or video. So yes, they were exceptionally popular. Everybody had annuals, and Fireball XL5 was no exception. They were mass produced, and there were so many sold and given to the kids, mainly on Christmas morning. Some, if you're lucky enough, you might have got one for your birthday, or you might have got one just for being good or what have you, but most of it was all geared up for Christmas. Now, let's move on to 2024. So we are 58 years on since this annual was produced. Do they come up very often on the platforms? Well, not that often anymore. They used to. The Fireball XL5 annuals used to come up quite a lot. But of course, obviously, as years gone on, the books are getting older, the collectors have got them, or most of the collectors have got them. There's still people looking for them, don't get me wrong. But they don't really come up that very often now, and maybe that's because of the age of these items, the condition. Maybe the people that have got them won't part with them. I don't know. I really don't know. But they don't come up very often on the platforms anymore. So they used to. You used to see them. I think when the platform first started, when they became quite popular in the early 2000s, you used to see a lot of these annuals come up. A lot of old annuals come up on all the platforms, but I say not quite as often. Certainly the Fireball XL5 ones do not come up for very often. And again, condition is key with these old annuals. You really have to make sure that certainly if you're buying on a platform, have a very, very good look at the actual item you're buying, and not look at the stock images, because a lot of the platforms just show stock images, and you've got to go into the actual product itself, read the description, and click on the images that relate to that particular item you're buying to in the use section to see the actual images of the item that you're buying. Otherwise, you can end up thinking you're going to get something that is very different to what actually arrives. So be very careful on the platforms. Or alternatively, we at Midas Touch have managed to find quite a few of these Fireball XL5 annuals, and we have quite a lot of them through the range. So I think there was 4 or 5 that were produced over the period of time, and most of those we have available on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Gerry Anderson items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you won't want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or maybe just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful old Fireball XL5 Annual with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.